What's up guys, welcome back to another video. Hope you're all doing well today. Today is not your normal MX Bikes video. We do one of these every now and then, but very rarely because I usually know nothing to do with setups. However, as most of you all know, we had the MX Bikes of Nations qualifying yesterday, and feel free to close this video and go and watch the live stream back if you don't want any spoilers. However, do a little countdown here, 3, 2, 1. I did manage to qualify. So it was very close racing. Aidan rode incredibly well, and James, bloody hell, I've got James Charles on my brain. And Jams rode very well in Moto 2 as well. We had the fastest lap of the race. But I did manage to get the job done. So I will be representing Great Britain on the 4th of November in the open class. So it should be really good fun and some good racing there. However, there is one reason, and one reason only, that I was able to do that. And that is from you lovely people in the community, specifically Ollie, aka Splee, whichever one he wants to be referred to as, sending me a very nice setup for the KTM450. Now, a lot of you guys will know that I am not the biggest OEM enjoyer. I've spent many hours sitting here scratching my head, working out what it is that I'm doing wrong, going into replay multiple times after each crash and just like being dumbfounded on what's going on when I'm crashing. And for whatever reason, I don't usually use people's setups that they send me, because I get sent a lot in Discord. But I thought, you know what, I'm down horrendous, I'm struggling a lot, let me try this one that Ollie sent over. And it felt like a completely different bike. Now, don't get me wrong, the reason it feels like a completely different bike is because I don't think he could have made more changes to the clickers in suspension if he tried. And the geometry as well was very different from stock. So the bikes definitely need a lot doing to them. However, I suppose as a general rule of thumb, one thing that I can say now that I'm experimenting with some of the other bikes is going very soft on the rear, but leaving the front kind of medium to hardish seems to be the way to go. Because a lot of the bikes feel so stiff to me, like from stock, especially the KTM, especially bikes like the Husky as well. However, after the setup I'm about to show you, after I use that on the KTM, I thought, you know what, let me try and apply this same logic to the TM, because we've been using TM for the LAN event qualifiers recently, and that bike I just couldn't stand. And it actually makes that bike feel a lot better as well. So I'm going to flash up the screenshots of the individual tabs on this. However, I'm going to be really mean, and to get this video to 8 minutes long so that I get paid for it, because, you know, this is my day job, and I apologise, you're all going to hate me for that. There's a little bit of a secret that I found out maybe a couple of hours before the MX Bikes of Nations qualifying started. So I'll leave that until the very end, just to keep you guys in there. And I honestly think that is one of the biggest things that makes these OEM bikes handle a lot better than what they was handling for me, which it sounds like some of the top guys already knew. But I guess I was late to the party on that one, so I'll let you know that towards the end. For all of you passionate gamers, you can now get 20% off all G Fuel products worldwide by using code LINS at checkout. And for any of you motorheads looking for some new drip or apparel, use code MXPR_LINS15 fxrracing.eu to get 15% off. All links and codes are in the description down below. Enjoy the video and drop a cheeky little like and subscribe. So you should just have some generic gameplay in the background here. This is all post commentary. I just thought, you know what, show some gameplay in the background to show what the setup is capable of. So if I show you the suspension page first of all, I'm going to have what I run and then alongside the default, so you can see how much difference there is from stock to what I'm running. On the front, we've gone, I want to say like a tiny, it's not changed too much. The biggest thing is the oil. So we've taken a lot of the oil out to make it quite stiff in the last bit of the travel. And what I think this helps with quite a lot is over jumping jumps and heavy landings. It seems to take them quite well. So normally, where the forks would fully compress and run out of travel and then yank your handlebars to the side, causing you to tuck, it's not quite as prevalent on this, so it kind of saves you a lot of time if you're going to over jump, or if you're doing supercross, for example, because this setup does work in supercross as well. If you're casing a jump, say you're casing a triple, as long as you land in the right body position, so that's like back wheel first, leaning forwards, it's really forgiving. And it also does work in whoops quite well too. If we move over to the rear suspension, it has been made so much softer than it is on stock. Now, I made a couple of changes here from what Ollie sent me. He was originally running, I think, 0 preload. However, on the Nationals tracks, if there was one particularly sharp braking bump, I could hit it and the rear end would instantly bottom out. It would run out of travel completely. So it would then kick me, like, basically almost going over the handlebars, and sometimes I did get kicked over the handlebars just from one braking bump. So I've changed the preload to 2. And it seems to handle things a lot better. That might still seem an incredibly low number, but give it a go. I promise you, it does help a hell of a lot. I leave the drivetrain stock. It's very, very rare that I touch the drivetrain on any bikes. Maybe the two-strokes, you know, sometimes the 125s need a little bit more room, so I'll shorten the gear in a bit. But yeah, I don't bother changing. That's all personal preference, you know, it doesn't matter what gearing you run. Some people might prefer a longer gearing to try and stay nice and smooth around the track. Some people might want a shorter one, maybe they ride a bit barshery. I do find myself over-revving this bike quite a lot. However, I think that's purely down to the fact that I have changed the sound mod on it, and I feel like it's so weird how just the sound of a bike can cause such a big difference in your riding. Like if I've got a bike that sounds fairly quiet and tame, then I'll ride a lot smoother. But if I've got one that sounds like it wants to chew your ears off, then a lot of the time I'll just bang it on the limiter in the air when I don't need to. Now onto the others tab, this is where there's been a lot of changes as well. And I would be lying if I told you if I knew how each and every one of the changes affects what the bike does at any given time. So this is exactly as Ollie sent it to me. So he's gone for 20 fork offset, 10 height, 6 swing arm length and 152 rod length. And whatever it is that it's changed overall, I feel like it handles corners a lot better than what I was used to too. So flat corners, it tracks incredibly well. I'm getting no front end tuck on flat turns. And it still turns quite sharp too, which is a massive thing that I was struggling with on the OEMs, is getting the bikes turned and leant over. Because I feel like, because, well, this is something we'll get onto in a second, because the tyres are so grippy now as well, the bike always just wants to go in a straight line because you're getting so much grip that there's no give as such. It doesn't want to turn when you want it to. But a combination of geometry and the tyres, this is a big W. So this really, really does help. And I think it's one of the biggest things that contributes to lap time. So if you can turn the bike tighter at the same speed, then you're going to shave so many tenths off your lap, especially if you do that on every corner through the course of an entire lap too. And then in regards to the tyres, so the PSI, I don't know why I turned the PSI down a little bit. If you're using bar rather than PSI, it is 3 clicks down from standard. So for me, it starts at 15.2, it then goes to 14.9, 14.5, and then 14.1. So if you don't know how to convert that and you are using bar, just click down or click the left clicker 3 times for both front and rear tyres. The brake leverage and such is just 20 and 240. I believe that makes the brakes as sharp as they can be. And then this is the biggest thing for me, the tyres. So if you're like anything like me and you're a person of habit and you don't like change, you've probably been running the mid-soft tyres since these bikes came out. The mid-softs were the best ones for God knows how long now. I always ran mid-soft 80 on the front and mid-soft 120 on the rear, and it's exactly what I was doing since these latest OEMs dropped as well. And I think they are the biggest, or the single-handedly the biggest culprit of not getting these bikes to turn how you want them to. And I actually have to thank Mr. Reaperdoc for this. Because he didn't specifically tell me to use these tyres, however he did get me testing to the point where I found something that I preferred. So maybe some of the top boys are going to hate me for this, because it seems like some of them were already using it. I don't know if it's a secret that people just don't want to tell everybody because they're scared everyone will suddenly get fast again. However, medium 90 on the front and medium 110 on the rear. Now, last beta, the medium tyres were absolutely poo-poo. They weren't worth it at all. There was zero benefits to using them over the mid-softs, for example. However, this beta, they are so insanely grippy while still somehow allowing you to turn sharply. I don't get it. If I compare the mediums to the mid-softs, there is absolutely zero benefits to running the mid-soft tyres. The only time now I will not be running medium tyres is if it's on a sand track, where of course I will then run sand tyres. So to explain my thought process here, and the reason why I'm not running like a 120 medium rear, is that's what Reaperdoc suggested to me at first. However, I slapped the medium 120 on the back of the bike, tried spinning a few laps, and you can literally hear the power being sapped from the bike. Like the tyres feel, because they've got so much traction, there's a lot of resistance to them as well. So whilst you might get 100% grip everywhere, it slows the bike down. So on an A, for example, with the big uphill quad, I was struggling to get that quad because the tyres were restricting my top speed so much. So I thought, you know what, these 120s are so grippy, let me try out the 110s instead. So we slap the 110s on, and you still get an unbelievable amount of grip, but without the penalty of being slowed down. I run 90 on the front just because it's personal preference. Feel free to experiment with an 80 or a 90, it's completely up to you. However, that rear 110 tyre is the biggest difference, I think, overall on these bikes. So maybe you're not using the KTM, maybe you're using another bike in the OEM line. Try the medium tyres out. I definitely recommend it. I really, really do enjoy them. And yeah, I think I've probably extended this out to 8 minutes at this point. Sorry to keep you waiting so long. If you're seeing this video an hour later than usual, by the way, Europe has had a daylight savings done, so we're an hour earlier, I think. Either way, we gained an hour of sleep. I got to sleep for an hour longer. Lovely stuff. But I hope this video has taught you something today. Thank you to everyone that helps me with setups. I really do appreciate it. As you know, I'm an L gamer when it comes to getting my bike set up how I like. However, I think this is a really good foundation and building block for me to now start, hopefully, progressing on these OEMs more and getting better on them. So thank you to Ollie, thank you for Reaper, thank you to all of you for watching as well. Leave a like if you end up liking the setup. Run it for a while, leave a comment down below if you like it, or if you don't like it. I'll be interested to see how other people feel, or if it's maybe just a setup that I enjoy by myself. But that'll do it from me. Drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, comment for the algorithm, all that good stuff, and have a lovely rest of the day. Catch you guys next time. Peace.